Okay, another Sunday. First of all, happy Mother's Day. So, let's get into this. I started kind of bouncing around, doing a lot of different things on the car. I didn't do a lot this week. I only spent about an hour yesterday, more or less just problem solving and getting the air conditioning system ready so this way I can do my final install. Purchased a couple of new things that we'll go over. First of all, I want to talk about this classic auto air. I want to give it a 5-star, but maybe a 4.5. And here's a couple of the reasons. One, on the vents on the Chevelle, you're supposed to block everything off. Those parts fit, but the vents on the dash, this is your adapter. And it's supposed to clip in, and then on this side you put your hose on there, your ductwork. However, this doesn't fit, so I had to come up with a solution for that. And after a lot of thinking, I remembered that Fernco makes a bushing, a rubber bushing. The outer part of it fits snugly inside the vents, and I'm going to show you one that I modified here. It fit nice and snug inside the vents, and then a 1.5-inch PVC adapter right in the middle, because that's approximately 2 inches. It fit right in perfectly, and then just a little stub of 1.5-inch PVC line, and the whole thing is solid. It's actually better than if I used this. So this adapter did not work. It's a good idea, but it did not work. Now the center vent, that's a nightmare in itself. Here's the center vent. It does fit the dash perfectly, nice and snug. This bracket here I didn't find useful, but I didn't find this whole piece useful. I found it useless. Here are your vents. I'm only going to bring one over. Here's the vent, and they want you to fit it in here, which if it does not fit good and you're getting very frustrated with it, they want you to glue them in and this, that, whatever, and no good. It's not going to work. It's a pain in the butt. We're not doing that. Here's what I did. I ordered an OEM vent that fits again perfectly in the dash. Let me take this apart for a minute. It fits perfectly in the dash. The only problem with this vent, it has this part here where the ductwork would go. This fits right into the air distribution box, so it's kind of like a D shape, and it had the insulation on here, the foam insulation, so when you slide it in, it creates a gasket. Again, this is too big for this system, so we had to figure out a way to go from this to this. So the inside diameter of this was approximately 3 inches, and that's where the bushing came in handy. It's going to be hard to see, and I already glued it, and I shouldn't have glued it, so I could have really showed you the bushing. So the bushing fit in there perfectly. It's rubber. I put some RTV on it, slid it in, perfect seal. On the edges here where we had that D shape in the corners, we had to put a little bit of RTV. Then this is an 1.5-inch adapter coupler. I put a little stub on there for to accept the hose. This is solid. You yank on it, it's not coming out. The hose fits on here perfectly. It fits just as good as it would on the adapter on there. I'll show you the bottom of that. I don't know if I showed you the bottom. I ordered some black clamps. Even though you're not going to see this, I'm going to put black skinny clamps on here so this way I know it's solid. It's not going anywhere. What I did here is 100% solid. Fits in a stock spot. It's the stock replacement. It's a replica, of course. It's not the original. I tried to find an original. I couldn't find one. So that's how I solved that problem. That's how we solved the two vent problems, left and right. And dropping things here. So this one had 2 feeds in it to feed the center vents. Total overkill, but basically the way that I got that set up, it's going to have some volume in here, so it's kind of like the same idea except it's all on one tube. So that took care of that. Then we had to let me take the other piece so I can explain it. So originally, this is kind of how this looks. And I'm sure all you guys know what it looks like, but here you go. So that is your defroster. The instructions are to cut it apart. They give you adapters, and by cutting, you create this. So what I did here, I cut it according to the template. I sealed with RTV. You know, I made sure I got it in here, so this way we get no air escaping. And I backed it up with some screws. So this way, that's, again, solid. And the hose will fit right on here. And you'll have your left and right defrost. This becomes waste, and this is my original piece. Again, I'm not doing a restoration. That part's not going to bother me that I cut it up. I thought about it. I wasn't going to cut it up, and then I said, you know what? By the time I ever redo this car, I'm not going to be here anymore. So we're going to just cut that up, and I know it's going to fit, and everything turned out well. So those were my only issues with that classic auto air system. Other than that, that's why I'm having trouble. I really don't want to give it a 4.5. I'd rather give it a 5, but unfortunately, this is what kind of really killed it for me. It was a simple, well, for the most part, it was a simple solution to get around and still have, you know, the air conditioning and all that. And I was originally going to go with the original air conditioning setup, but the problem is, just want to make sure you can see me on screen there. The problem is, it would have had that big box right here, and it would have been just too much with this engine in here. It most likely would have fit, because for the factory, the big block fit with that box. So it would have fit, but it would have been a mess. It would have been a nightmare, and that's why I chose to go with an aftermarket system, just to kind of clean up everything and tuck everything inside. And all I got to deal with out here basically is hoses and approximately, on the outside here, approximately, I believe, one wire that goes to the compressor. So that's so one of my things is I don't want to deal with a lot of wires. So for the most part, and the other reason I went with Classic Auto Air is I didn't have to buy the compressor and I didn't have to buy the brackets. So I saved, I think, like $400. And all the other systems I would have had to buy everything, and that compressor and brackets would have sat on the shelf, because I received a air conditioning compressor when I bought my front drive system. So this way all my front drive system is compatible. It all works together, one manufacturer, which was, I think it's a Pro Electronics, which really is Speedmaster. So, and that all fit perfectly, everything's nice, belt's nice and tight, and very happy with that. Really happy with Speedmaster products. The only problem is the technical support. It's a little hard to get a hold of them, and when you do, sometimes they don't know the product 100%, so I'm not sure how that works, but the products, as long as you don't need that technical support every 5 minutes, definitely worth buying. And also, I received this about a week or so ago, but that's going to be the top that I'm going to modify for pressure bleeding my brake system. So I'm going to try to get to this today too and create that. That takes a little bit of time, not a lot, but it eats up time. Now, wire management, again with wire, because I hate wires. So I have everything, as you know, in the cowle where the wiper transmission would normally go. So basically, there's a few heavy wires that feed the MSD box. There's 2 main wires that feed the computer for the injection system. What else do we have here? The fans. I did receive my radiator. I pulled it out to look at it, but I didn't leave it out because it's aluminum. I didn't want to ding it up. But this box retains the new radiator. And with the radiator comes the dual fans. I bought a whole complete unit, again, so the compatibility is there. It's already put together. And we're going to have to deal with some wiring, of course. Oh, I'm dropping things again. We're going to have to deal with some wiring, of course. And some of these wires go back to the batteries. And some go to, actually one wire for the computer will feed the relay. so the computer will control when the fans come on and off. I could put an extra switch in there if I want, but I'm not, because that's more wiring and I hate wires. So I believe that was it for parts. Oh, and I did the headlights. But let's pop the camera off and just take a little walk around. You guessed it, I'm not a cameraman. So basically, this is going to be my wiring hub. This is a really nice piece. I believe the red and black box, positive and negative, I believe they were about $52, which I found to be very fair. So underneath here, it's a mess right now. I haven't really cleaned it up, but I'm going to try to finalize this today, or at least get close to it. So basically, you know, your power wire is going to go there. All your power wires will go here. They'll get screwed down. This is all stainless steel. And I'll have the one wire that comes back to the batteries. Everything will be individually fused. Most of them are already fused on their own from the factory. And that'll be the power distribution. So we're not running 50 of these to the battery, which would be ridiculous. And to put this outside and do the same thing, it would be ugly. So we're not doing that. And the radiator soon to fill that hole. And I don't think I did much more inside here. I just kind of started just wiring the, it's going to be hard to see in here, and I don't have, oh actually I do have my light. So I just started just running some wires for the air conditioning as per their instructions, and it's a mess in here right now. But I'm just trying to keep the interior parts in because I'm putting them in as I go. There's my Fisher body manual, comes in very handy. And I got the door glass, and I got the quarter glass here done. And one other thing that I purchased, and I'm going to show you the ones I haven't installed yet, because I couldn't find mine, were the 3 stops for the quarter glass. I have no idea where mine are. They're in a box somewhere. And these were fairly inexpensive. They're OEM parts, found them on eBay, and I bought both sides. And even if I find my other set, no big deal. Spares are always great. So I already popped them in here the way they're supposed to go on this side. I'll be doing that side today. So I'm going to be bouncing around on what I refer to as tedious projects. So this way I can get a lot of this tedious stuff out of the way. The wiring I got to get pretty much there, because if I want to start the car, all this has to work. So there's no like bypass this, bypass that. It's unfortunately it's electronic, or fortunately it's electronic. Depends how you want to look at it. So we still have a wiring nightmare. I mean, it's straightforward. It's really not a nightmare, but I just hate wires. I don't mind wiring and neatening things up and fitting things where I feel they should fit, but it's just time consuming, and I'm getting really anxious to try to start this. Once those wires are in, I think next few weeks, hopefully, I might be able to turn the key and get her to bark a little bit. It's going to be loud because I don't have my exhaust yet, but then again, I might go ahead and order the exhaust. And I just got to make a battery choice. I'm probably going to go with an AGM style battery, so this way there's no you know, no acid to deal with and all that crap. You know, that would be a glass mat battery. So I think I'm going to go with that. They're fairly expensive to buy a good one, but well worth it, because I don't want to deal with all that corrosion, all that bullshit. You know, just not dealing with it. So again, not a ton to show this week. It was more parts and just figuring out, you know, my next steps, what I'm going to need for those next steps. And the quarter glass, I did pick up the urethane, and that's how I'm going to put the trim piece on the end of my glass here. I just have to clean it really, really good with some denatured alcohol or some cleaning product. It's got to be super clean, and at that point I don't have to use a primer. I can go ahead and just put the urethane on my glass or on the piece, push it on there, tape it, let it dry, and it should be really rock solid. But so far everything's been coming together good. The only things that I have to say didn't fit 100% were the vent situation of the classic auto air. But other than that, most of this stuff has fit pretty well. surprisingly for aftermarket products. So let's go ahead and let's get this back on a stand and finish up. Alright, so basically today, like I said, it's going to be a lot of little tedious things. I got to get these little tedious things out of the way, because if I don't, it's going to not allow me to start this car sooner, but later. I'm going to lose another Saturday next week to work, as I think my Saturdays are going to start, hopefully, calming down a little, and I can spend 2 days on the car instead of just a few hours on Sunday. And I guess that's where I stand right now. And, you know, hopefully these videos will encourage somebody to get a car, tear it apart, put it back together again the way they want. And you don't have to spend the money like I'm spending here. You can do all this stuff on a budget. You don't have to buy all this crazy stuff. I'm doing it because I've had the car for so many years, and at the beginning, with me in this car, I didn't have any money to really spend on the car. I mean, it took me, I think, like half a year or more to save up for an $800 paint job at the time, which this isn't the paint job, of course. The original paint job that I did was a 76 Corvette blue, ivory blue, metal flake, midnight blue. It was a really nice color, but just, you know, like anything else, you get tired of colors. So I decided to go with white. I was on a white kick when I painted this car, and I kind of like it in white. So the black stripes are obviously going to go on it. As we talked about before, the vinyl top is going to go on it just to break it up a little bit. And I think this is going to be its final color of white. I'm not really a red person, even though one of my Corvettes is red. Some of the reds, like the new Corvette Flame Red, I believe it's a new color. That's an interesting color. I do like that red. But I think this car in red would be just too much. It would be too powerful. I think in white, it doesn't look too big. It doesn't look too small. I mean, it is a, you know, it is an anchor. I mean, it's a gigantic car. I mean, it's a 3,000-pound car from the factory. I believe 3,200 pounds, I think it is. It's a heavy car to begin with, and that big block doesn't, you know, doesn't make it any lighter. So this will be its final color. I do probably need to repaint it sometime, but at this point, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I'm going to touch up what I can touch up, and it is what it is. You know, it's not a show car. It's just my car. I want to be able to get in it, have a little fun with it. I'm probably not going to have a ton of time to spend with it because I do have other projects, and, you know, besides this, I mean, I have a whole house and property and everything to take care of, so, you know, unfortunately, I can't spend my whole life on a car. But it'll be a decent car, and I'll touch it up the best I can. I'll polish everything. Well, I'm going to wet sand it, and I got to block it, and I'll probably use linear blocks on it. They do seem to be the best blocks, and they do make actually a kit for Chevelles. So this way you'll get all the blocks that you need for all the curves, and, you know, so this way you don't start, you know, burning through paint and, you know, hacking things up. So, you know, the paint will be the best it can. I'm not going to get crazy. You know, like I said, I have too many other things to do, and I just want to build this, enjoy it, and keep it as clean as possible. You know, like I said, it's not a show car. It's just my car. I mean, that's it. And I guess that's everything I believe. That's everything I believe for this week. I don't think I purchased anything else. Oh, you know, I do buy extra parts when I find them. Like I found this new old stock, and it's an OEM part. The price was extremely fair. Never been used. Just a raw hunk of metal, and it's one of my headlight doors. And you know, it's OEM, and it was there staring me in the face, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and buy it. I believe this is the right side. Let's take a look. And yes, it is the right side. So when I come across OEM stuff, I will purchase it and I will put it to the side because you never know. You know, I might go out one day and somebody might hit me. Who knows? You know, that's one of my fears of taking anything out is, you know, just people that are careless, texting, not paying attention, and destroying other people's property and sometimes taking people's lives. You know, it's totally ridiculous. But I guess we're going to get to the brake bleeding now that I have the cover and I can modify that. We're going to get to the electrical, being that I have the boxes, so we're going to go with that. I'm probably going to sit down today and choose a battery. I do need to get some fuel here because as soon as my wiring is done, I got to make sure my fuel pump and all that is working properly. And I'm going to go ahead and sort out the lines and finish my plumbing here. I do have everything here now, so we'll finish up the plumbing and at least get some gas coming and going. So this way, you know, we're one step closer to firing it up. I still got to do my rotor phasing one more time. I just want to make sure everything is right. And once that radiator goes in, you know, I'm not a small guy, and it's going to be impossible for me to get my fat butt over everything to go ahead and phase that rotor again. So, you know, that's some of the challenges as you get older. You put on a few pounds, and you still think you're 20 years old and flexible. Guess what? You're not. But anyway, again, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week with hopefully a little more progress.